All right, we are studying here ecology, and ecology is a little different. So some of you earlier said, well, we've been studying living things all year, and that is true. But ecology is the study of the living things, but also how they interact with their environment, with their ecosystem around them. So it's about the connections between different types of living things and between living things and their environment. So let's talk a little bit about the Earth and how we kind of organize or categorize various parts. So first off, we have this word ecosystem. And when we talk about an ecosystem, we're talking about sort of an area in which you have living things interacting, connecting with the non-living things around them. And ecosystems might be big, a large forest ecosystem, or they could be very small. Right? The courtyard of our school, or even a puddle, or a rock and log can be thought of as its own small ecosystem. So the key is that I asked you about an ecosystem. It's the living and non-living things together. So this courtyard ecosystem out here is made up of the grass and the weeds that are out there, the ducks that sometimes go in there, the trees, but also non-living things like the water out there, the soil, the rocks, the oxygen in the air. All of that is still part of the ecosystem. No, they fly in there sometimes.
There should be a pond.
Yeah. So that's what an ecosystem is. The living and non-living things interacting. We can further break that up into things we call community and the habitat. Community is just the living parts out there. So the living things out there would be the community. It's kind of like if you think about a neighborhood. The people that live in your neighborhood, they're the community. Versus habitat is kind of the area where things live. If you're thinking about your neighborhood, it's like the buildings and the roads around you. That would be the habitat. The community is the living things. The habitat is the non-living things. So like I said, out there, the soil and the air and the water and the rocks, that's part of the habitat out there. The community are all the things that live in that habitat. Ecosystem is made up of a community and the habitat. If we look further at that community, we can talk about one specific population. And when we talk about a population, we're talking about one specific species. So out there, out here, lots of different types of trees. Ash tree, white pine, two white pines, there's a red cedar out there. All right, so we could think about just the red cedar bush that's out there. That's one population specific. Or we could talk about the population of robins that are living in the courtyard. Or the population of squirrels. So it has to be specific to a species. For example, say all bullfrogs living in a pond. If I say all fish living in a lake, is that a population? Yes, I hear no.
No.
Why not?
Because the fish aren't all the same species.
Right, because there's many species of fish. A population is a specific species. If I said all of the rainbow trout in the lake, that is a population. If I just say all the fish, that is not. Finally, diversity. The diversity of the courtyard ecosystem is not very high. There's not a wide variety of living things in the courtyard. What does diversity mean when we speak about it in terms of cultural diversity or diversity of a school or of a neighborhood. Abby? Yeah, the people there are different from each other. They're not the same. Different races, different religions, different ethnicities, different languages. That's an example of cultural diversity. Well, the same sort of thing is true of an ecosystem. The number of different types of living things in an ecosystem represent its diversity. What are some very diverse ecosystems that have high biodiversity, we might say? Right? A rainforest. Okay? Over spring break when I was in Costa Rica, we visited the tropical rainforest, and it's just very dense with many, many species of all sorts of things, trees and frogs and amphibians, reptiles, all sorts of things can live there. It's very diverse. The oceans are very diverse ecosystems as well. What are some ecosystems that maybe are not quite as diverse? Where you don't see the widest variety of organisms?
A lake.
A lake, maybe.
Desert.
A desert ecosystem. There's some diversity, but not nearly as much as you have in the rainforest or in some of the ocean ecosystems. When we look at an ecosystem, we can talk about its biotic or abiotic factors that influence the ecosystem. Do you know what the prefix bio means? Like biology. Ology is a study of something. Bio. You know what the bio prefix means? So biology, biological, biotic, means living. Bio means living things. So biotic factors are living things that are influencing the ecosystem, such as trees, frogs, ants, bacteria, fungi. Anything that's alive is a biotic factor. And so you can probably guess what an abiotic factor would be. An abiotic factor. Fallon?
Non-living thing?
Yeah, non-living thing. A sort of means the opposite of the word, abiotic. Non-living things such as soil, sand, oxygen, water, carbon dioxide, the temperature, the humidity. Those are all non-living factors that are that can influence an ecosystem. These terms look familiar. Producers, consumers, decomposers. I think you learned about them in elementary school. All right, well, we're going to I'll hold off until tomorrow for you since we're just about out of time. We're working on a couple slides.